Women's sports have long been underrated, under-resourced at a professional level compared to their male counterparts, but the tide is turning.
High-profile events like the Women's T20 World Cup in Australia and a once-in-a-generation stars, I should say, have all increased interest and a groundswell of support.
Think about Ash Barty, Elise Perry, Sally Fitzgibbons, Sam Kerr. The names just ring out. So many wonderful women in Australian sport.
My international cricket debut as a 16-year-old never happened. It wasn't televised, it wasn't talked about, and it didn't inspire the next generation of females to play cricket, or any sport for that matter. But it can now.
Powerful words from one of sport's most in-demand athletes, Elise Perry, sharing her story in a new advertising campaign. It's a piece of sporting history that seemingly flew under the radar. The youngest person to represent Australia in cricket on debut back in 2007.
The Elise Perrys, the Elisa Healy's, the Meg Lannings of this world, you know, the change that they've seen in their generation has been exceptional. I'm really excited for what the next generation see. They may not ever know an era where women's sport isn't fully professional, and we really hope that's where we get to.
Our love of sport in this country and the changing landscape for female athletes has been on display for the world to see this year as Australia hosts the ICC T20 Women's World Cup.
Australia! What that means to Australian sport is really a change in momentum for the way we view women's sport, and not just about cricket. This is about women's sport in this country in a whole. This World Cup really gives us a moment in time to make significant change and to really embrace what that change looks like. The worst thing we could do now is sort of sit still and expect this Women's World Cup to have results for us without putting any effort in. It's a really critical moment that if we don't embrace it and learn the lessons and then take that step change, we won't see the evolution the way that we need to.
It's not only our cricketers putting in the effort, some of the biggest moments in sporting history have been made by females wearing the green and gold. And in many instances, they're beautifully endorseable. Tennis world #1, Ash Barty, has joined forces with some pretty impressive brands.
Winning the French Open and reaching #1 in the world was incredible, but it's the journey, not the destination, that I'm enjoying the most. At the end of the day, it's only a tennis match. If I win, great, but if I don't, the sun will still come up tomorrow.
As has the highest paid women's footballer in England, our very own Sam Kerr.
I want to win a World Cup, I want to win an Olympic medal, but I just want to keep enjoying myself. Can't see myself anywhere else.
What we're really looking for now is the acknowledgement that the engagement that women's sport is receiving is increasing exponentially at a much higher rate than men's sport is. And it's how we now can embrace that, how we can get those corporates involved and help them understand the value.
And joining us live now is Nick Hockley, CEO of the Women's T20 World Cup. Thanks for joining us, Nick, from the Sydney Cricket Ground. Steph Baltrame, General Manager of Broadcasting and Commercial Cricket Australia, joins us from Melbourne. And Liz Broderick, founder of Male Champions of Change and former Australian Sex Discrimination Commissioner, is here in the studio. Welcome, one and all. Nick, let's start with you and let's talk about the World Cup, because I know it has been the thing that you have been most passionate about for the past year and a half.
Oh, well, it's just been a fantastic event so far. I mean, I think when we started out, we always said that we weren't going to let this opportunity slip through our fingers to really raise the bar, and just seeing how the fans, the players, people watching all around the world have got behind the event has just been fantastic. And I think it's really just been testament to the quality of the cricket and the quality of the contest that we've seen. So it's just been absolutely fantastic.
Stephanie, in terms of moving forward, is this now a critical moment? We've seen the display here for the World Cup, but is it now time for the sporting fraternity to really take this opportunity and run, so to speak?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a huge opportunity on Sunday if we can fill the MCG for the final of this tournament. It's a platform to showcase international women's cricket, but also, as you say, it's a chance for the global sporting community to get around this event and to get around women's sport even more than we are at the moment.
It's been brilliant, hasn't it, Liz? Look, I had a good chat with a number of former players, and as much as they look out and say, oh, we didn't earn any money from it, they are just loving the fact, the Lisa Stalakas of the world, of where their game has got to.
Absolutely. I mean, I've just been watching over the last couple of years, and particularly just in the last even 6 months with the T20, to have the elite level of women in sport. I think it does reset the way we think about men and women, their place in society and indeed their place in the world, and that's a great opportunity at the minute.
Nick, I'd like to ask you, in the package we just heard from Jodie Hawkins, the Sixers GM, and she emphasised that as a country and as a media, we are now accepting women's sport in the same way and critiquing it the same way, which is exactly what the players want.
No, I think that's absolutely right, and I think it comes down to the quality of the play and the quality of the contest, and we've just been really buoyed and really enjoyed reading and watching and listening to all the media and all the analysis, and really the analysis has moved off the event as a sporting event very much onto the sport as it should be the priority, and it's just been compelling viewing. And I think the other thing that's just been really pleasing is that I've spoken to lots of people who've never really engaged with cricket or have watched much before, and they've watched it, they've tuned in, and they've just really understood why it's such a compelling sport, and that's due to the quality of the play.
Steph, our show is the business of sport, and I mentioned Lisa Stalakas before. She's a great example because she was there just before this professional era, and a lot of the players that we have now representing Australia can have this as their primary focus. Where are we at with money and the women's game, and how much has it progressed?
Yeah, you're right. In the case of Lisa, she was sort of on that cusp of the transition from amateur into a professional era for the game. And I think what we've been able to demonstrate is if we can make some bold decisions and really get behind the game in every possible way, from improved pay conditions to supporting players through new parental leave policies, that actually sets a foundation where players, young girls, can make a decision to say, actually, that is a genuine career path for me. They can follow that through to represent their country, and they can be supported in that fashion. So it really has become a very professional era, and as Nick said, you know, the players are just performing magnificently on the field. It's just great to watch, great to see, great to read about.
Liz, what opportunities are really presented now moving forward with the success of the World Cup here?
I think the World Cup just signals that Australia is open for business, in a sense, in terms of sport, and particularly women's sport. And we know that we've got the Rugby World Cup bidding process, the FFA bidding process, netball. What I'm loving seeing at the minute, and this has been a real shift in the last couple of years, is that every sporting organisation is getting behind each other's bids for the World Cup. Now, they are the most competitive market for sport we are here in Australia. You know, ordinarily we're hugely competitive, but around, you know, telling the world that here we are, we believe fundamentally in gender equality. We believe that women have an equal place in sport to men. And by the way, we're prepared to put all our resources behind each of the different sports. I think that's fantastic because I don't know any other country in the world that's doing that.
We've become a lot more accepting as well, hasn't it? And it's happening quickly, thankfully. Look, as a father of a 12-year-old girl who loves soccer, who loves sport, and to see the world that's opening up for her and her peers is fantastic. What about AFL? There is a bit of a push. We have AFLW. There's those that say we should have AFLM.
Yeah, well, you're right. I know there's a debate about that, and we've got some fabulous AFL club captains and whatever in our Male Champions of Change initiative. I mean, my view is we should have AFL, and we should have it for both women and men, just as cricket have done. They've got the Australian women's national team and they've got the Australian men's national team, but it's all about cricket, So it should be all about AFL. And as Nick says, it's a quality of the game. So I think women open up the game. They make it more sustainable, but they're equal quality with the men.
Steph, talking about money and commercial value of these female athletes, what sets them apart to potential other ambassadors out there? Why should, businesses be really looking to our athletes for these opportunities?
Well, I think, sport is actually more than sport. It's a way of life. It's a way of getting to the community. It's a way of belonging to a group, to a team, to a club. So I think within sport, there's the game itself, but then there's the characters, the personalities, and everything that goes around that. So I think definitely investing in sport helps organisations and brands connect to the community. And I think what we've seen is through the performance of our women athletes right across the board, that they offer everything from skill, from talent to personality, and we can trust them. A lot of them have either moved into that professional era, but beforehand they may have had jobs. They're very worldly, they're very earthy, and I think that they are great ambassadors for any brand that wishes to get involved in sport and to associate themselves with women's sport.
And we just happen to have a few of the best in the world, like Ash Barty and Sam Kerr and Elise Perry, who's arguably the best cricketer, male or female, in the world. I'll leave the last word to you, Nick, because, you're in the final few days of this World Cup. Could you have thought it would go as well as it has gone?
Well, that was the hope, but I think we didn't really know, and I just think it's testament to the cricketers. It's also a testament to this sports-loving, very knowledgeable and passionate public, and I'd just like to say a big thank you certainly to Liz. We've had amazing support from so many leaders, to Steph, the whole team at Cricket Australia and everyone involved in cricket across the whole country. It's been a massive collective team effort, and it's going to be a fantastic occasion on Sunday at the MCG, and we encourage everyone to get down there. Don't be one of the people that wakes up on March the 9th and said, I wish I was there.
Absolutely, well said, and I think the smile on Nick's face says it all as well. Congratulations to you and the team. Nick, thank you so much. Steph and Liz, we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.